Well, I'll tell you what, I've spent, and I think I will, in a combination of loss and opportunity. Probably it'll cost me anywhere from $3 to $5 billion to be president. And the only thing I care about is this country. Couldn't care less, otherwise I wouldn't have done it. People have asked me, what do you think it costs? And between opportunity, not doing things, I used to get a lot of money to make speeches. Now I give speeches all the time. You know what I get? Zippo, and that's good. And I did a lot of great jobs and great deals that I don't do anymore, and I don't want to do them, because the deals I'm making are great deals for the country, and that's to me much more important.
Hello and welcome, fellow digital soldiers, to True Reporting. It is the 26th of August, and on today's podcast, I have two very important Twitter threads coming from 3 days and 3 nights. Please follow this person on Twitter. Incredible information. It's entitled, "Can the U.S. military legally seize control of Google, Twitter, and Facebook?" We all know, and this goes out to all the people who are on Twitter, all the YouTubers out there, people who are trying to bring forth the truth. We are censored, we are suppressed, and it is not a fair playing field. We need to make it fair. And my friends, the only way to do that is to take control of these technocratic dictatorships. We must do so. But before we get into today's podcast, which will be full of memes, a lot of good news I'm hoping will be coming down the line, would you please welcome my sponsor, Noble Gold. Hey guys, Thomas from True Reporting here. Did you know that gold is up 18%? That's right. It's been like that since the month of June, and we all know why. It's because Trump is relentless against the Federal Reserve. We know that our money is not worth anything unless it's backed by gold. So why not back your 401k or IRA with gold and go to Noble Gold and tell them Thomas sent you from True Reporting. You call this number 1-877-646-5347 and tell them Thomas sent you, and it'll be worth your while. Thanks guys, and enjoy the podcast. All right guys, it's good to have you aboard. A very important podcast, if I do say so myself. Has a lot to do with the future of this movement and getting the truth out. And I'm really believing at this point that our president is going after these companies to free up suppression over a conservative voice, over just not even conservative, just people who want the truth. We need it to be out there. But before we do that, my friends, would you please go ahead and click the notification bell so when I post to this channel, you'll be the first to know. Also, please go ahead and click that like button. The more likes that this video receives, the more times it is recommended to other viewers, thus more eyes on the truth. My friends, this is the best way to fight censorship. And with that being said, my friends, let's go ahead and hop into it. This is True Reporting. So from 3 days and 3 nights, a great investigative journalist, please follow them on Twitter. It says, "Can the U.S. military legally seize control of Google, Twitter, and Facebook?" Now, I covered this on my last podcast. I told you I would continue following up on this information, and it seems to be there is light at the end of the tunnel, which is beautiful. This thread theorizes that the U.S. military can legally seize control of the big three internet companies if they, in the kill box, engaged in treasonous acts of war based on 12/21/17 Executive Order and SJR 23-914-01. And we can see here Trump over the technocratic dictatorships, the big three. He will not allow them to get away with this. The curious retirement of Eric Schmidt. Trump issued his famous executive order on 12/21/17 to declare crimes against children as an amendment to the war on terror that Congress approved after 9/11. What are the odds that Eric Schmidt would resign the exact same day from Google? Was Schmidt shown a file by you-know-who, 17? 60 days earlier, 17 started posting a MBS took over Saudi Arabia by arresting the criminals. MBS said they showed files to the criminals to get them in the kill box to accept a settlement awaiting future trials, right? Gitmo tribunals. Has 17 been using the same tactic? I would. It says here, the MBS stated that, in quote, we show them all the files that we have, and as soon as they see those, about 95% agree to settlement. About 1% are able to prove they are clean, and their case is dropped right there. About 4% say they are not corrupt and are with their lawyers. Who selected Eric as Google's chairman? Page and Brin found Schmidt through John Doerr and Sir Michael Moritz, two Democrats. Were they C, A, or M, 6? Google's parent company's alphabet could be a reference to the ABCs for the what. Was Google organic or orchestrated? Absolutely orchestrated. Think of DARPA, right? Why was Schmidt really in North Korea? Schmidt went to North Korea 3 times. He went with Epstein's friend Bill Richardson. He also took Jared Cohen and Rhodes Scholar like Clinton, Buttigieg or whatever his name is, and Cory Booker. The operating system for the North Korea cell phone company, Arirang, is rumored to be Android. Huge, guys. Who is Jared Cohen at Google? From 17's post 1024 mentioned Jared Cohen. Nothing suspicious. He spent 4 months touring Iran, then gets hired by Google to run Jigsaw and visits North Korea and Ukraine. His job at Jigsaw was to, in quote, fix surveillance, extremist indoctrination, and censorship on the internet. Right? Oh, you mean censorship from not the enemy, but actually being an adversary to Americans and actually censoring our voice, right? Oops, Eric has an ocean foundation. Thanks to 17, we the people know what it means when one of them have a foundation, especially with one ocean or climate issues in the name. And of course, Schmidt's dad just happened to work in D.C. for the U.S. Treasury for the Nixon CA, right? Weird. Trump retweeted that Google should be investigated for treason, right? Virtual treason. Remember that everything Trump says becomes part of the presidential record. Trump never tweets anything without first knowing the facts. The NSA has it all. We can see here, Trump says he'll look at Peter Thiel's accusations that Google is committing treason. And this is from July 16, 2019. In quote from this tweet, it says, billionaire tech investor Peter Thiel believes Google should be investigated for treason. He accuses Google of working with the Chinese government at Fox and Friends. A great and brilliant guy who knows the subject better than anyone. The Trump administration will take a look. This is right at a month ago, guys. So this is fresh. And does that mean that Google will be torn down? Absolutely not. It'll just be restructured so that, sites, YouTubers out there, people on Twitter, so on and so forth. These companies will just be reconstructed. They won't go anywhere, but they'll get the treasonous affairs taking place there out of there. They will get the criminals that are controlling these giant companies out of there, and then they will be run equally and fairly, which is what the American people need. Did Google commit election treason? Trump highlighted at Dr. Blockbuster report that suggested Google may have committed treason by manipulating millions of votes in 2016 and 2018. They didn't. It's not a may have. They did. If true, the U.S. military could place Google into receivership and break it into 1,000 pieces. Wow. From a Donald Trump tweet, it says, wow, the reports are just out. Google manipulated from 2.6 million to 16 million votes for Hillary Clinton in 2016 election. This was put out by a Clinton supporter, not a Trump supporter. Google should be sued. My victory was bigger than thought, and that was only from 7 days ago at Judicial Watch. Twitter's algorithm blip. Trump tweeted about Greenland. Normally, the first 100 responses are 75% anti-Trump comments. 17 hinted that this is being manipulated. For hours after this tweet, the responses were 75% pro-Trump. Can military turn off their algorithm anytime we want? I believe that they can. Yeah, perfectly played, Maestro. As we can see here, fake news will not be happy about this. I promise to do this to Greenland, right? So exactly, if you see any Trump tweet, the first 15 or 30 tweets are absolutely negative. Twitter's biggest shareholder. Jack Dorsey's friend, Prince Alawid, was Twitter's largest shareholder before MBS arrested him and seized his assets in October 17. Alawid owned the 2 top floors of Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. Was that an act of war? Did we seize his shares? We can see them too here. Where is Zuckerberg lately? Remember all those times Facebook was caught selling or leaking private information about you and me? Remember how Facebook was started the day the CA LifeLog was shut down? And we thought Facebook was an organic success? Ask yourself, who can seize Facebook now? The US military? Absolutely. Code 2385, advocating overthrow of government. In the event of a U.S. citizen using a U.S. company to advocate the overthrow of the U.S. government, then we have a case of treason. Why are they over there? Why was Google over in Iran? Why are they over in North Korea? Why are these people there? They're adversaries. They're the enemy. They're deep state. In World War II, SCOTUS ruled an ex parte querin that U.S. citizens can be tried in a military tribunal. We can see here, Code 2385, advocating overthrow of government, is entitled for military tribunals. Military tribunals are now active at Gitmo. OMC website shows an active list of 9/11 tribunals being held at Gitmo. SJR 23-91401 allows any U.S. citizen to be tried at Gitmo if involved in 9/11. What if 9/11 and quote funds can be tied to 12/21/17 executive order trafficking crimes? Thanks, SA, right? The authorization for use of military force, codified 115 status. It says, by the United States Congress on September 14, 2001, authorizes the use of United States armed forces against those responsible for any of the attacks on September 11, 2001. Run, rats, run. The nations below in orange do not have extradition treaties with the U.S., but they want to do business with the U.S. Now you understand the power of tariffs. If X nation won't hand them over, the enemy, we add tariffs. Now consider the locations of military bases. Why is Google in communist China? Why are they there? Why was Eric Schmidt in North Korea? Why do they always team up with these dictatorships? Why are they the enemy, guys? They are not for the American people. Now it says here, now consider the locations of these military bases. And we can see here Italy, Iraq, Japan, the Philippines, Thailand, Burkina Faso, and Honduras. What does all this mean? No one but Q+, the president, knows when placeholders drop. For optics, I drop no later than 11/3/19 to avoid claims we are interfering with the 12-month window before the 2020 election. And fun trolling day to start would be 9/11/19. Think mirror. Patience wins. And we can see here, first placeholders to be activated. Look for placeholder updates at Patriots Fight. Indictments, arrests, and D-Class will force worldwide coverage. Leaks, bribery, collusion, referencing media will force resignations with follow-up criminal prosecution. 17. The first placeholders, OIG report, D-Class, other release facts, code US 18, chapter 115, treason, sedition, and subversive activities, which these big 3 companies have been doing. Moving forward to a follow-up on this thread. Possible 17 decode for pain in --23. Trump retweeted today telling the MSM to look into the Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977, the IEEPA, which I covered in the podcast earlier. So for fun, I went and studied the IEEPA and found a few interesting tidbits. Please note that Trump's tweet is dated August 23rd. For all the fake news reports that do not have a clue as to what the law is relative to, presidential powers, China, etc., try looking at the Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977, case closed, 8/23/19. Why did Q expose the password ... pain in _____-23? Many thought this 17 crumb could be a reference to a date like August 23rd, which was today, and as of today of this podcast, it was 3 days ago. 17 also hinted it could have another meaning. Some believed it is about SJR 23 91401, people involved with September 11th, correct? So we can see here, watch the news in, there it is, negative 23. You knew when you set that trip that the pain would be delivered, negative 23. More evidence of foreknowledge. I'd watched the news that day. Then we can see here, past statements was directed at confirmation, statements not assumptions, plus JA thrown in, Julian Assange. These are spread to discredit knowing will not materialize. Good decoding. Technically, US 11th, Sing 12th correct. What else might 23 refer to? Dash versus minus, military 17. We exposed the password on post 91 on purpose, 23. Subsequent posts on here were then made by Anons. Timestamps, verify, use logic, understood. Be careful who you follow. Let's look at the IEEPA for clues since Trump tweeted about it today. The IEEPA is known as a Public Law 95-223. This could be written as 952-23 and would also fit the model that was given to us by 17 952-23. I know it is a stretch, they say, but let's dig a little deeper into 952 to look for the coincidences. Remember, there aren't any. International Emergency Economic Powers Act. You can view this law citation at these sources. Publication 95223. International Emergency Economic Powers Act. It says here, the authorization of the president to regulate international commerce after declaring a national emergency, which he is talking about even while he is at G7, which is today, in response to any unusual or extraordinary threat to the United States which has a source in a whole or substantial part outside of the United States. The IEEPA is currently in use by 4 Trump executive orders. Executive Order 13818 from 2017 about human rights abuses. Executive Order 138848 from 2018 about foreign election interference. Right? That's exactly what we've been talking about with these big 3 networks, right? These big 3 media outlets. Executive Order 13851 from 2018 about more human rights abuse. And Executive Order 13873 from 2019 about using information tech and communications for spying, and that ties directly into foreign election interference, and I'm sure more human rights abuse. We all know what these sick people are worthy of doing, right? Not worthy of doing, but are capable of doing. My apologies. And these are all of these right here. You can look them all up. It's all part of the plan, my friends. The IEEPA allows governments to seize assets and fight economic wars. So all these people that are doing the human trafficking, think Venezuela, think George Soros, think so on, so many people out there that have had the Saudi Arabian princes, right? All these people have had they've all been seized. Remember that happening? Very strange. The IEEPA allows governments to seize assets and fight economic wars. So on August 23rd, Trump tweets about 95223 that allows seizing of assets and economic warfare against trafficking nations and big tech spies, while SJR 23 allows for the tribunals for them. China tariffs, the Fed, Google, all a part of this, guys. It ties all right into one another. The IEEPA authorizes the president to declare existence of an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, or economy of the United States that originates in a whole or substantial part outside of the United States. It further authorizes the president, after such a declaration, to block transactions and freeze assets to deal with the threat. In the event of an actual attack on the United States, the president can also confiscate property connected with country, group, or persons that aided in the attack. It is quite possible, my friends, that with this executive order, this IEEPA, that the president can take control of these big 3 companies and run them the way that they are supposed to be ran, right? And my friends, that is it for these two threads. I find this to be extremely important, and I believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Let's not get discouraged. I think our president, I believe, and I know our president fights for us day in and day out, and that has a lot to do with the intro video. This is more of a positive podcast, and I hope you are enjoying it. Let's go ahead and hop into some real quick memes while we're here together. All right, guys, so coming from Joe M. Fake news are having a really hard time with this one. Pepe was always a symbol of anti-establishment, rejection, or government tyranny, so they branded it in, quote, white supremacy. That worked here, not so much in Hong Kong. They're actually trying to rebrand it there, so it makes sense. Wired says Pepe the Frog is popping up all over Hong Kong, but not in the way that you would think. While often associated with white supremacy in the U.S., Hong Kong's Pepe is a different animal. He's a symbol of progressive resistance. Wired, right? Progressive resistance. So my friends, they're trying to label it differently, but it's going to come out that Pepe obviously was never white supremacy. These people are dumb. So coming from Ezra Levant, Trudeau bravely trash talks Trump to the press gallery in Canada, but whenever they actually meet, Trudeau assumes a submissive position. I love this right here. Politically and even physically. Just look at this picture, and even a child would know who was in control. As you can see, who is in control and who is not, who's the alpha male and who is the sissy. You can see here firsthand. Even a child would notice it. So my friends, why am I looking at flowers right now? This is what we call the summerific perfect storm hibiscus. It reaches a height of about 3 feet tall by contrast, and the summer storm can grow to be twice that height. The perfect storm. The storm is upon us. Right, my friends? Let's check this out. What was Melania wearing? This exact same flower. The perfect storm hibiscus to G7. My friends, I believe they're trying to tell us something here. The world is watching, and so are we. Guys, this is a message directly to us. If you found this informative and you enjoyed it, my friends, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter at TRUreporting, and don't forget to leave a like. My friends, you can donate to this channel, and please keep it afloat by going to my PayPal, Patreon. We also have a P.O. Box and TRUreporting merch if you would like to help support the channel. Guys, please be loving and kind to one another, and I will speak with you all very soon. Have a wonderful day and a great evening.